announcement. We have John Howard that's going to come up. A quick announcement, and then we're going to
Hi everyone, it's so wonderful to see everyone. Just a quick announcement. I'm a faculty member at the Illinois Institute of Technology, and we're a STEM school, and most of our programs are in engineering and the sciences, architecture. And I work for the Graduate School of Business, and we are desperate for African American students. I taught 3 classes this semester, 100 students. I had 4 black students. And one of them was African, was not African American. Please, if you all have grandchildren, children, nieces, nephews, anyone, please contact me. I'll leave my cards here. If I can get 10 students, the Illinois Institute of Technology will give each student 50% off of their tuition. So please contact
we're culminating our activities for this weekend. There is a dinner dance tonight. There are tables that have been allocated to the classes, and obviously because of the timing of folks purchasing tickets, all the group may not be able to sit together. But what I am asking you to do though is, when our tables do fill up, if we can just kind of quickly aggregate as a group to other tables so we can make sure we know where our tables are, and after the dinner we'll have a chance to further interact with each other as well. And also tonight, for those who may not make the dinner and want a refreshment, otherwise the suite at the Embassy Suites 1030 will be open. So for those who did not purchase a ticket and wanted to come by for refreshments or whatever, feel free to do that, and then we'll be there for the long run. So I hope everyone has had a good time. And so we have to formally do this, which I don't want to do because I'm losing a bet with my wife, but we have to select a class leader.
You are the class leader.
So could I have nominations from the floor?
We just make it for life.
Right.
So we have to officially do this for purposes of the recording the alumni records.
I submit
But
that Archie Glasgow. You need a formal instruction.
I second that.
I need a second on that.
Yes.
All those in favor?
I lost my bet. So
Maybe we can induct her as an honor.
After this meeting,
yes.
you call your wife,
Right.
and we will all say thank you to her.
Can we induct her as an honorary
Maybe
member?
that'll help you when you go home.
So, one of the, as Diana Baldwin mentioned, obviously one of the purposes we get together is to make sure that we meet, our giving goals. And, I can tell you, I've just noticed over the years and coming back and forth to Hampton that this university has been richly blessed. And I'm not talking about just an HBCU or Black University. I'm talking about one of the major universities in the country when you look at academic programs, when you look at the plant facilities, and the quality of students, the quality of programs that are being offered. The trend is still going up. So it's really up to the Alumni Association, as Diane mentioned, to help to make sure that that trend continues. Now, I've had some conversations with some folks and talking about estate planning and things that they were looking at to do in the future, as far as either keeping Hampton in their will, allocating some of their resources to them. So I would certainly encourage you all as you continue to age gracefully, is to make sure that you at least give some thought to estate planning, and when you do, at least keep Hampton in mind, so the legacy will live on. And so if each of us do our part, years from now, our children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, they'll have a story to tell as well. That Hampton is still very relevant into the next century. So, any other comments, thoughts, questions? Anything else for the weekend? Announcements, anybody?
I do have a
David,
question.
okay.
Excuse me, but when you talk about estate planning, if you were to designate something for the school in your estate, would you note that it would be accredited class of 76 or whatever other situation you wanted to?
How is it gonna be accredited to your class?
Yeah, good
Doesn't
question.
matter.
That's what I'm
The key thing is, obviously, from a personal standpoint, anytime you set up an estate plan, obviously with an attorney or CPA, whatever, they're gonna make sure you are very specific on every aspect of your plan. Some things may, seem trivial now, but believe me, they'll make sure that you're very specific. And it's up to the individual too, I think, but you're right. The thing you wanna make sure of, if you in fact want to designate something specifically to Hampton University, then as part of your estate plan, you need to make sure that in your will or whatever, that it specifically states Hampton University, it specifically states the purpose, the amount, how it's supposed to be handled, all the 90 yards. And a good estate planner will cover all of that. So it's just something to think about. Prior generations never had that in mind, but for us, and a lot of folks everybody's been successful because everybody's standing here, guys, so we all have been successful in some right. So it's important that we make sure that the university certainly benefits from the class of 76. So right now, our goal initially was 85,000, and before, as of noon today, 11 o'clock today, we were at 68,000. So we have some work to do, and I will say, there were some folks who went online this morning. If you went online after 8 o'clock this morning, I'll have that update by 4:30 this afternoon. It wasn't included in that number, okay? So for those who want to write a check now, payable to Hampton University, and on the memo line, wherever you want to designate as your gift in terms of any restrictions, you can certainly indicate that. Years back we established the Over Fire Over 2 Endowment Scholarship Fund. Right now that fund has a market value of approximately $160,000. Last semester we awarded a scholarship of $3,200 to a journalism major. So the fund is active, it's very much alive. And we're going to make this a goal. I want you guys to hear this. We're going to make this a goal that when we get to our 50th, and that's, this is 40, and anybody who's a math major, we got 50. When we get to our 50th, we're going to work hard. We want that endowment to be $1 million. And there's no reason why we can't get there if we start planning and do it consistently and get all of our classmates involved. 10 years, a lot can happen in 10 years. So we want to make that happen. We're going to be calling upon folks, different parts of the country, to make sure we keep our class together and make that happen. Go ahead. What's that? Yeah. And certainly in terms of, folks having recurring gifts, I know some classmates do it now. They'll have $10, $100, whatever the number is, that they constantly, as a normal deduction, either directly out of your check or through your bank, and it's just swept out of your account each month. It adds up, guys. I mean, it may not seem like a lot now, but it adds up. And in 10 years, compounded interest and everything else, a lot could happen in that fund because it's obviously professionally managed. We've seen the results of it, and I had a nice brochure, and I'll post it online, that the university is maintaining in terms of the fund balance and the management of it. They did a really nice brochure for each endowment that was at the university, and they did a nice job for the Over 502 endowment as well. So yes, Laura.
Is that a separate donation to the endowment versus just to our class?
Yeah, no. Anytime you make a donation to the university, you can specify whether it's go to the general fund or to a specific endowment or specific group or whatever. So it's the total dollars, so you allocate specific areas. And I give an example, like, this year, I did an allocation to the Ogre Fire Endowment Fund, and then part to Hampton Nation. So you get to designate that, whether you want it to general fund or to a specific group, or whatever the university managing.
Okay.
I got a couple of questions on that though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, let Nora.
So so the 69,000, let's say we
Right.
donated Hampton University class of 76.
Right.
Do we need to specify the general fund or the Ogre Fund?
Right,
Do
if
we
you-
need to specify further
Yes, right.
than
No,
just
if
the
you
class
just
of
put Hampton
76?
University without saying anything in terms of where you want the money to go, it'll go to general fund automatically.
Okay, but the class of
Right.
76, does that go specifically to the Ogre Fund?
No, you have to specify Ogre Fire Ogre
Oh.
Endowment. Yeah, in terms of, if you say class of 76 now,
Yes.
on the check, that's important so that the class gets credit in any year in terms of what the class gives overall.
Okay,
Okay,
but
so
we
you always
still need
wanna indicate class of 76 on the check somewhere. Always indicate that, okay? But in terms of pointing the money, where the money goes,
Oh, okay.
you wanna specifically state, like Ogre Fire Ogre 2 Endowment Fund. If you don't make that designation, it will go to the general fund, okay? You know what? That's,
It's your call.
it's your call. I don't want to say, all I'm saying is that we're going to get $1 million by the time you get here. So we know that, all right?
So the reason why to me this is important is that I do, like, end of the year donations online.
Right,
The reason why I need to know the name of the fund is because they don't, at least when I go online, I don't see them.
right.
They don't list them. So when you click down, our fund doesn't show.
Right.
So you may not know exists, and you have to know how to
Right.
say it.
That's a good point.
So,
Yeah.
so from that standpoint, if there's any way we can consistently remind each other or put the word out, because I've been wanting to do it, I've tried to do it, I may have been successful a few times, but I don't know.
No, good point. And the university, in fact, we talked about that, is that even though we don't have, obviously, a reunion every year, but there's a fundraising, fund giving every year that we want to make sure that when in fact people designate funds, it's going to go to give our class credit. Even if it's an off year, we still want our names on the record book. And the other reason why that's important, because the university is constantly involved in fundraising. And it's important that in terms of the numbers that are enrolled, that are showing up as far as fundraising, a lot of these foundations are interested in total numbers that participate. They don't necessarily get involved in terms of how much each person is giving per se, but they look at from a university standpoint, what percentage of your students are giving back? Because then that's an indication that, yeah, we all have an interest in the success of the programs that are involved. So that's why it's important that we constantly get, even if it's all for you guys, I don't care if it's $1, get your name on the roll so it counts as part of the university alumni base on activities. That's what's important. And then, you decide from that standpoint in terms of, finances. and
What's
stuff.
the percentage
Yeah.
for our funds?
We are overall it's like right at 27, 28%. It's dumb. No, it's low in terms of
It's not
total
low.
people.
The
Yeah,
average is-
no. Yeah, I mean it's
15, so
I mean
that's
it's
pretty good.
I'm thinking low from the standpoint I want higher, but yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Claflin is 51%.
No, my goal is I want the Ogre Fire Ogre 2 endowment because that's going to outlive all of us. Okay? So when some student has to write a letter in, thanking the university for that, we want them to acknowledge our class.
How much of the donations go to overhead? Is it 1% to scholarships, or how much goes to overhead?
I don't know the exact number, but I can tell you. I mean, the university, and let's look at this, the university programs are expanding. So to the extent that monies are raised for specific programs, obviously those dollars are allocated to those programs. And then from the general fund standpoint, the endowment, not endowment, but the fundraising helps the general fund overall. But guys, let's be clear, it takes a ton of money to run this university. And so that's why they depend a lot on foundations, obviously with students, tuition, enrollment, people are paying. But it's these third-party sources that are also supporting this. So the third-party source will say, okay, Hampton, if your alumni raises $1 million this year, we'll match it with $3 million. That's how the money comes in the university. So we do our part, it helps with the overall fundraising because the university now has something they can fall back on and say, look what our alumni are doing and supporting the university. Okay? And believe me, I've driven by a lot of HBCUs, etc., and people are really struggling. And so this university has been richly blessed in terms of what they've been able to accomplish over the last 40 years in total. So we should not take that for granted and continue to do our part. Yes?
I just want a clarification, because I just went on, this is when I made my donation, I did not see, what did you say was over 5?
Yeah, we have to, yes, get back to Ricardo's point. Guys, keep in mind, there's a drop-down menu, but the university has a lot of different endowments. That's why they put the other line there, so you can write it in exactly what you want. I mean, over 5 over 2 endowment is just one of hundreds of endowments, okay?
Can I make one suggestion?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give you anything else more than you.
Right.
If you could just send a blast to all of us, kind of pointing out how to say it, how to do it.
No problem.
I think that would help most of us. Like I said, I've looked for it. I never see it. I try to type in class of 1976 endowment, but I don't know if it gets there now.
Now that raises a good question. By the way, everyone, hopefully just about everyone signed the registration book in terms of indicating being here this weekend. If you haven't, it's okay. Please go online and put your name, address, and email. Current name, address, and email. Guys, this is going to be important that you keep that current. I know a lot of us are transitioning, moving from one state to the next, etc. But it's important that we keep that current because I get the list. And so it's easier to manage knowing that, I've got everybody electronically online that I can manage through the list. So it's important to make sure that your names are current. And I will say, if by December 31st of this year, I'm giving you 6 months, you have not received anything from Hampton, that means either 1, you didn't sign a registration, never on the alumni roll, or 2, what you wrote in the book, they couldn't understand it, and it's bombed out, okay? So keep in mind, if you do not receive any correspondence from Hampton between now and the end of the year, that means that you're not on the alumni registry, period, end of story, guys, okay? So please keep that in mind. Call the university, you can go online and update it yourself in terms of name, address, email, etc. That's critical, okay? Yes, Deborah.
Just one last thing. My brother and Michael Henry Bird from the class of 1980 are the co-chairs of alumni giving for the whole National Hampton Alumni Association. Please let us make this goal, because I will never hear that.
Okay, yeah, come on.
Is there any way to electronically send a contact list out for everybody that was here this weekend?
Well, I can, but I won't. And the only reason why is, privacy laws in the U.S. are probably worse now than they ever have been. I would certainly say if there's a, and I try to use Facebook, and some of the other sources in terms of communicating with folks. So we just have to do a better job of making sure we communicate. So I don't want to do that for obviously several reasons. I don't want to invade somebody else's privacy. That's all right. Okay.
Did they clear up the glitch? Because yesterday, even though you tried to go on there was a problem.
Yeah, I know. Some people mentioned that, and I did. Where's Hammer? Oh yeah. And I know because you had mentioned that too, but it did for whatever reason. I saw the list. It did come through. So yeah, I can check if somebody went last night and didn't want to check, I can certainly look at the listing as of last night. Yeah,
That happened to me as well, so I would
Okay.
appreciate if you
We can check it.
Yes,
We can certainly check it. All right.
So if we give you a check now, that
Yes.
can go a party, or whether it's good or not?
No, I would rather you give me a check now.